Septimus, wherever you may be.
Oh!
He knows there's something in the wind, doesn't he? Senses it, even down there in the cellars. He's no fool, young Master Oliver. Been restless for days, so they tell me. And still, a week to go to full moon.
Oh! I found you, Daniel. Quiet. So there you are. Help yourself to my drinks again.
Oh, my dear.
I knew it. Only you refused to answer the telephone call. What is the use of having internal telephones if no one will answer them?
I assure you.
And what do you mean by telling Mrs. Hammond to put another place under the dinner table? May I remind you that I am the head of this house now that that crazy old fool is dead, and as such I give the orders. If you wish to dine with us, you ask my permission, family lawyer or not.
If you'll allow me to explain...
There's no need to explain. I consider this gross impertinence on your part, Imbody. Gross impertinence.
Nevertheless, I wish to point out that far from inviting myself to join you at the dinner table, I was merely following the instructions of your late father that on the day of the will reading, an additional place be set for one of the beneficiaries.
This is monstrous. I absolutely refuse to sit at the same table as Oliver. He was never allowed out of his cell when Father was alive, and I don't see why we should have to tolerate him now. He should have been committed years ago, the day he bit off the gardener's ear.
A most distressing occurrence. But fortunately, the chap was stone deaf and had no further use for the ear anyway. But it was a tricky moment, but that's beside the point. The other guest is not your brother, Oliver. It's a stranger. It's someone quite unknown to members of the family, and something of an unknown quantity in herself. I'm assured, though, that in the outside world, so to speak, she is something of a celebrity.
You mean it's a female?
Miss Ermintrude Ashe, by name, a writer of romantic novels for women.
Never heard of it.
Nor I. But apparently your father was taken with her literary style and wished to include her in his bequest as a token of his appreciation.
But she won't accept it, of course.
That's entirely up to her. I wrote to her publishers and was duly informed that she would arrive here this evening on the 7:15 train. I took the liberty of arranging for a taxi to bring her here from the station.
You've been uncommonly free with my money, Penwood, if you don't mind my saying so. And how long do we have to put up with this person? You know how Dora feels about strangers.
I'm afraid the duration of Miss Ashe's stay here at Monument House will depend on whether she accepts the terms of the legacy or not.
And what are the terms?
Unfortunately, I'm unable to tell you at this time. The terms must be explained in full hearing of all parties.
But I want to know now, Penwood. I will not have perfect strangers wandering around my home, poking their nose into things that don't concern me. I won't have it.
Won't have what, Lucia?
Strangers in the house. Absolute strangers.
The police?
Oh, don't be so stupid, Dora.
But they were accidents, Lucia, no accidents.
Miss
And the
Dora.
tax collector, don't let them take me.
Miss Dora, please, please. The lady concerned is quite unconnected with the police force. She is merely a beneficiary of your father's will who is going to spend the night here at Monument House.
Here? No one ever spends the night here. Not if they know us.
I'm sorry, Miss Dora. But it's part of your father's will and is quite binding. He was most definite about it.
This is intolerable. Absolute blackmail.
Oh, but Lucia, we can put her in the bedroom with the 4 posters. I've always wondered how that would work with a real body in it.
No, I'm afraid not, Miss Dora. Not this time. The lady is quite famous, and her disappearance could be quite embarrassing to all of us. No, I regret that she's going to have to leave here alive.
Oh, that's so typical of Father. How dare he force us to have this woman in our home? What right has he? What right has he?
About $5 million worth of right of the rough guess. Wouldn't you say so, Penworthy?
Good evening, Miss Emily.
Vultures beginning to gather, I see. All eager for their share of the carcass.
There's nothing in the vulture about me, Emily, too. Nothing at all.
I'm sorry. Perhaps I should have referred to you as a carrion crow. After all, I notice you're trying to dress the part.
How dare you? How dare you?
If I may be permitted, Miss Emily, this ridiculous enmity between you and your sister would be far better hidden while outsiders are present.
Ridiculous enmity? That old cow poisoned our mother.
Accidents happen in the most organized families. Well, I myself would not have chosen foxglove or hemlock as suitable ingredients for flower wine. Why, obviously, Miss Dora felt otherwise. And Mrs. Toon did compliment her on the taste before the convulsions began.
And that makes everything all right, does it? Well, nobody asked for your opinion. And just in passing, I'll decide the way I'm going to behave around here.
Well, that, of course, is entirely up to you, Miss Emily. But if I may be permitted to quote from your late father's letter of instruction. And if that big-mouth bitch, Emily, opens her trap in front of my guest, then she loses her share of the cash, and you can split it between the rest of the morons.
Let me see that. He can do this.
Nevertheless, he has done. So I think it might be in your best interest if you would refrain from such things while Miss Ash is on the premises. Don't you agree? I need hardly add that Mr. Toom included similar instructions for other members of the family. He didn't want anyone left out, so to speak.
You mean he threatens me in that letter? Me?
There must be some mistake.
Oh, there's no mistake, Miss Dora. You are specifically ordered not to make any mention of your horticultural studies and Mr. Lucien from his experiments in the East Wing.
This is monstrous. I refuse to be silenced. Absolutely refuse.
But what possible objection could there be to my mentioning our lovely flower garden?
Somebody might ask what's planted in them.
Well, if I shouldn't say, those beds are beautifully laid out.
So there are bodies under them.
You've been told about mentioning that before. It's a subject best left dead and buried.
You said it.
But he's never said I mustn't talk about our garden to our guests before. Never.
That's because we never had guests before. At least not any that had to be allowed to go home again.
Emily.
Face up to it, Lucy boy. You're not trying to pretend that we're an average, home-loving family who spend our time doing good works for the community, are you? There's not one of us left this crumbling ruins for the past 20 years.
Emily.
Well, there's never been the need. Everything we've ever wanted has been right here. The chapel, the sick room, the flower gardens, and the burial ground.
Oh, yes. We mustn't forget the burial grounds, must we? Even though we get more use out of the flower bed.
But you've been told about mentioning that before, Emily. It's a subject best left dead and buried.
You said it.
What sayest thou to me? Speak once again.
Oh, don't interrupt, Pea-Brain. Go find your nursemaid.
Good evening, Mr. Marcus.
Ah, why have you stolen upon us thus? You, like Caesar's sister, wife of Anthony, should have an army for an usher in the days of horses to let us know of your advance long ere you did appear.
If you don't mind, Marcus, we were just discussing a letter that Father gave to Mr. Penwithy. A disgraceful document. Absolutely disgraceful.
Simply wicked, my dear.
Yes, your letter did withhold our breaking forth till we perceived both that you were wrong led and we in negligent danger.
Pardon?
That scheming old devil. He's made fools of us all. Every single one of us.
No one's made a fool of me.
Oh, they didn't have to. Nature did a first-class job. You don't have the brains to figure out what he has done to us. I'm the only one in this crackpot family who knows why we have to act normal while this precious lady novelist is caged up with us.
I'll not stand here and be called a crackpot in my own home.
It's my home, dear, my home. I'm the eldest. but I quite agree with Dora. We refuse to be subjected to your unpleasant insinuations any longer. Anyway, you may call us when the rest of the beneficiaries are assembled.
See? They can't even face the truth.
What truth?
About them. The moronic monster. They're secretly married.
Married?
But they can't be. That's impossible.
The people know it and have received his accusations.
It's the only thing that makes sense. I knew that'd shake you. But he doesn't want his little bride to know she's married into a family of lunatics.
Oh, Emily!
Face up. Face up to it, Lucy boy. We're not trying to pretend that we're not trying to pretend we're an average family who spend our time doing good works for the community, are you? There's not one of us left this crumbling ruin for the past 20 years.
Emily,
Well, there's never been the need. Everything we've ever wanted has been right here. The chapel, the sick room, the flower gardens, and the burial grounds.
Oh, yeah, we mustn't forget the burial grounds, must we? Even though we get more use out of the flower bed.
Emily!
Stop kidding yourself, Lucy. Stop kidding yourself. Okay? We haven't kept out of sight because we wanted to. We've had to. We're the local Frankensteins. There's Oliver, chained up in this cellar, thinking he's a werewolf. And Marcus, so convinced he's Caesar that we expect him to be assassinated at any time. And Dottie Dora there, throwing up her poisoned wine and poisoning off
Stop her,
victims
someone!
like 9
Stop her!
And you, Lucy boy, locked in the East Wing, mixing your stinking chemicals and popping off wild animals just like nothing.
That's a lie, a dirty, filthy lie.
Of course it is. Our little sister Monica is Mother Superior of the local convent, isn't she?
Well, what about you? You with your disgusting, depraved...
Oh, excuse me. Oh, don't go, nurse. You won't hear anything you don't already know.
I'm sure I won't, Miss Emily, but I have to change the needle and swabs. They're no longer sterile.
Oh, I wouldn't let that worry you. He'll be just as mad no matter what you use on him.
Mr. Marcus isn't mad, Miss Emily. Really disturbed. And he's been a lot better since we started treatment. Dr. Fell has every confidence in his eventual success.
That's charlatan. What does he know?
Dr. Fell is an excellent physician, known and respected all over New York. You could do worse than to pay him a visit yourself.
Snotty little bitch. Instead of her, the better. That goes for you too, Bird Brain.
No, Caesar shall not. Caesar Danger knows that Caesar is more dangerous than he. We are two lions littered on the same day, and I, the elder and more terrible.
Oh, shut up, Marcus. No one's going anywhere. I'm the head of this household, and thus Franklin will remain with us until such time as I see fit to dismiss her. Is that clear, Emily?
If I may be permitted to put in a word, I'd like to point out that our guests should be arriving at any moment. So it might be just as well for you to settle your differences before they do.
Guests?
Did you say guess?
You mean there are more of them?
Oh, nothing to be alarmed of, I assure you. The other person will not be staying. He will be just a traveling companion of Miss Ash, and he'll be returning to New York on the next train.
He? A man?
Man?
Oh, no. Miss Ash's secretary, Peregrine Potter by name. So you see, there's nothing to be afraid of, is there?
Cowards die many times before their death, but the valiant only taste of death but once.
And he doesn't know about the Avon lady?
Of course he doesn't, Dora. How could he?
Or the insurance salesman?
No, nothing at all. I promise you. But in order to be certain that he does remain in ignorance, it might be just as well if you refrained from offering him a sample of your homemade wine. Don't you agree?
I'll do it at once, shall I? Right away. Oh, I almost forgot.
And I hold the keys.
Miss Dora,
Yes.
one of yours?
Oh, why, yes, it's my mud-crusted port. Did you like it?
No.
Oh,
Yes.
you drank some, too. It's perfectly all right, Billy. This is the one that's poisonous. I made this from some plums.
Did you call, Mr. Lucian?
No, it was nothing.
Let me have your arm, Marcus.
You're not going to stick it with that thing now, are you? Not while we're here.
Well, that was the idea, Miss Emily. Hardly a novel sight for you after all this time.
Nurse Franklin.
Yes, Mr. Penley.
Would you see that Mr. Marcus is dressed in something a little less noticeable for the will reading? Mr. Toome requested that it be a slightly more formal gathering since outsiders are going to be present.
Outsiders? Here? I'm sorry. Yes, of course. Come along, Marcus. We'll do this upstairs in your room. Let's get you out of that toga and into a nice suit, shall we?
Thank you for your pains and courtesy.
Whey-faced little trollop. The old man didn't leave her anything, did he?
Oh, just a small legacy, Miss Emily.
How small?
Oh, just a token of his appreciation for her service over the last 2 years. Oh, nothing untowards, I assure you.
You don't assure me of anything, you old crook. There's something fishy going on around here, and I want to know what it is. Is that Ash woman secretly married to the old man, or isn't she? Come on, out with it. If anybody knows, it's you.
Oh, to the best of my knowledge, Mr. Toome and Miss Ash have never even met.
What's that?
More than that, I cannot tell you.
What's that supposed to mean?
It's been 6 weeks since the late unlamented passed on, and we still don't know how much cash is coming to us. I'm warning you, Penworthy, if you're up to something, I'm going to snap you in them pieces and plant you at Dora's mistake. Understand?
Miss Emily, I'm a highly respectable lawyer.
If you were respectable, you wouldn't be working for this family.
Really, Emily?
I can understand your impatience at the delay, but my instructions were quite specific. There have been a great many details to attend to, and vast wealth does create certain problems, you know.
So does the lack of it. I want my money fast.
So do I. My experiments have come to a complete halt due to my financial difficulties, and further delay may cause complete disaster. And if the governor learned about this, he would be most annoyed.
I promise you'll both get what's coming to you within 24 hours. Word of honor.
There's a phone call for him. Says a surgeon.
Who is it, Agatha?
Him from the car rental down at the village.
Oh, that would be Draycott. He's collecting our guests from the station.
He'll find that difficult. They haven't arrived.
I'd better talk to him.
I knew it. More delays. You sure he hasn't just missed them, I suppose?
They could hardly do that, Mr. Lucian. The train didn't stop. Went through without so much as a whistle. I suppose that means that we'll be having dinner as usual. We won't be needing the extra plate.
Oh, forget the extra place. What about the will reading?
Oh, we'll have that as soon as Penworthy gets off the telephone.
How can we? He's already told us he cannot read it until we're all present, and I am most annoyed.
I'll keep your shirt on, Lucy boy. He'll read it.
A lot of fuss about nothing, if you ask me. Wills are meant to be read when people are dead, not when they're playing hide and seek.
Agatha,
Your father is about as dead as I am, Mr. Lucian. I heard what I heard, and I know what I know. And that's enough for me.
And I know I saw the old maniac sealed up in that mausoleum 6 weeks ago with a marble slab over his ugly face. Understand?
You saw it. His coffin interred, Miss Emily. I'll grant you that. But which of you actually saw him inside it? None of you. That box was screwed down and sealed up before they'd let anyone into the room. Isn't that true?
What did you expect? They didn't want us to catch what he died of. The quack told us it was highly infectious.
And you all believed him. Doctors have been bribed before today. He's not dead. Not him. I've heard him moving about the house. I've heard him down in the cellars. I've heard him out in the passages. I've heard him right here in this very room, night after night.
Ah, you've been hitting the cooking sherry again, you old bat.
I'd recognize that voice of his anywhere. And the other one.
Who was it?
That's his business, not mine. I'm only a servant in this house. If he wants you to know what's going on, he'll tell you himself, just like he's always done.
Can't you get it through your thick skull? He's dead? Dead!
Your father is a strange man, Miss Emily. If he wants people to think he's dead, then he must have very good reason. I've questioned nothing he's said or done these last 40 years. So I'll play along with this little game now. But I'd advise you all to watch your tongues for the next few days. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll go and see to the meal.
She's mad. Stark, staring mad.
But what if she's right, if he isn't dead?
Of course he's dead, you brainless toad. Dead and rotting by this time. She's just trying to upset us.
But why?
Thinking. I've got it. Penworthy. He's the brains behind this one.
Penworthy?
Hamilton Clever Penworthy, our respectable family lawyer. You use that feeble little brain of yours for a few minutes. You see that I'm right. Who's the only one who's in a position to swindle us out of our money? Penworthy. Who's kept us waiting 6 weeks before finally letting us know what's in the old man's will? Penworthy. And who's the only one who knows anything about the ash woman? Penworthy.
Then what are we going to do?
I'll tell you.
Then?
It can't be. The train went right through.
Shall I answer it?
Oh, let Agatha. That's what she gets paid for, isn't it?
This monument house, isn't it? The residence of the True family? Oh, thank goodness for that. I thought we were lost. Donkey knows. I'm real unexpected. My name is Ash. Furniture Ash.
It is, sir.
You better come in, I suppose. I'll tell them you're here.
Thank you.
Who's there? The Ash Woman and friend. I'll tell Mr. Penworthy they've arrived.
So you're the mysterious Miss Ash, are you? Yes. Good evening, Miss Toon. Emily Toon. And this is my brother, Lucian.
Famous scientist.
Oh, this is my secretary, Mr. Potter.
How do you do?
We expected you to come by train, Miss Ash.
We even sent a taxi to the station for you.
Well, we're terribly sorry, but we had to come down by car. It seems the train doesn't stop at your local station on Saturdays during winter. And when we heard the fog warning on the radio, we thought we'd best set off as soon as possible. We tried to warn you, but your telephone is unlisted. I do hope we haven't kept you waiting too long. Oh, we waited 6 weeks now. I guess another few minutes isn't going to hurt us. Want a drink? Thank you. A small sherry if you have it.
Not for me, thanks. I don't drink.
Oh, would you like to smoke?
I don't smoke either.
Really? I hope you're not going to tell us you make your own dresses. One small sherry coming up.
Emily.
Relax. It's a good one. Tell you the truth, I don't think I could tell a good one from a cheap one. You would if it were one of Dora's.
That's her sister. She makes wine as a hobby.
Oh, how very interesting. And is she always successful? No one's ever complained. I imagine she gets most of the ingredients from the garden. You must have simply acres of them, if that drive is anything to go by. Oh, I love gardening, don't you? It's so relaxing. It puts me at peace with the world. Gives me half a chance to get in those rose beds of yours, and I'd never come out again. Not without an exclamation order, that's for sure.
Oh, my dear Miss Ash. Oh, welcome to Monument House. Forgive me, Hamilton Penworthy, the family lawyer. I see you've already met Miss Emily and Mr. Lucian. Yes. Won't you have a seat?
Oh, thank you. But I prefer to stand for the moment, if you don't mind.
It's been a long drive, and the visibility was very poor. Terry has an awful job getting us here. I don't drive myself, you see. This is Mr. Peregrine Potter, my secretary.
Oh, how very kind of you to spare the time to come down to see us. I realize how very busy you must be.
Well, I am in the middle of my new book, The Daughter of Allah. Oh, but I just couldn't resist. I mean, it's like something out of one of my very own novels, being left a legacy by a perfect stranger. It's simply fantastic.
I'll say.
There was nothing perfect about the late Mr. Toome. He was a man of many vices, but your books made him very happy. I understand that in his room he had a copy of every book you've ever written, so you can see they made a great impression on him, a very great impression.
Especially when the bookcase collapsed and he finished up underneath them all.
It wasn't very funny at the time. He contracted a rare disease from the woodwork and died shortly afterwards, so we're told.
But not before he made over a portion of his estate to you, in appreciation for all that you've done for him. The late Mr. Toome was a very wealthy man, so I'm sure that you'll be very happy with what he left you.
Oh, I'm sure I shall. I mean, I never expected.
Neither did we. But now that you do, I'm sure you won't mind if the rest of us find out what we've got coming to us. Kenworthy?
I see no further reason for delay. I'll call Mrs. Hammond on the phone and ask her to see if she can find the rest of the family.
Don't bother. I'll find Monica and Lucian can find the rest.
That's a good idea. Excuse me.
I don't know where you'll find Miss Monica. I haven't seen her all day.
Oh, don't worry. I have an infallible system for tracking that one down.
What's that?
I just whisper, there's a man in the house. And there she is.
Oh, always joking, our Miss Emily.
Yes.
Yes.
I hope you'll forgive me if I'm mistaken, Mr. Penworthy, but I rather get the feeling that I'm not exactly a welcome guest here.
Oh, my dear Miss Ash.
Oh, no, it's quite all right. I understand perfectly. It's only natural for them to resent my presence under the circumstances. From their point of view, I have no right to be here at all. They don't know me, and I don't know them. Why the late Mr. Toome wanted to make me a beneficiary, I can't imagine. How much am I supposed to inherit from him?
Like the others, I'm afraid you'll have to wait until the will reading. I'm sorry, but I can make no exceptions.
I was afraid you'd say that, but it's only that it's so very foggy outside and a rather long drive back to New York. If you could have told me quietly, I could have left without more ado. I have no wish to make trouble for this family. And in any case, I intend to leave the money to a suitable charity.
Charity? Charity? Excuse me, I thought there's something I need to do, something important. Oh, charity!
What did you make of all that?
Well, it certainly seemed to work.
Oh, Terry, of course it works. It always does. They don't suspect a thing.
I suppose not, but
But what?
are you sure we'll get away with it? I mean, we've never pulled anything like this before. This time we're dealing with the law.
Do you think I've never dealt with the law before, darling? Being the widow of a federal judge has its advantages. Now, look. I don't think we're going to find out very much until the whole family's gathered together. But with any luck, we'll know exactly how much the mythical Miss Ash is going to inherit within an hour. Agreed?
Agreed, but I'd hardly call her the mythical Miss Ash. She has written quite a few books, you know.
True, but we both know that very few people have ever met her, don't we? In fact, you could count them on one hand. So there's no danger of being recognized and accused of impersonation, is there? Now, let's assume
that the will reading is over with, and we know where we stand. What do you do then?
I excuse myself, explain you have to go back to New York, get in the car, make for the rendezvous, and then wait for your call, right?
Right. Now don't worry, everything's going to be fine.
I wish I was as confident as you, Frida.
Well, you know what they say about me, don't you? The greatest little con artist in the game. A few other clothes, a new hairstyle, it makes all the difference. Now, according to this Penworthy character, I'm supposed to stay here overnight. Bit of a bore, but I'll get away first thing in the morning, and I should be with you no later than 8:30 at a rough guess. Now, don't forget to meet me.
I'll be there shaking like a leaf.
Oh, it's going to be a pushover. I can feel it.
If you say so. Is that the late lamented, do you think?
Oh, he looks more like Dracula's grandfather, if you ask me. Gives me the willies. But you know, it's this room that interests me.
Why?
Well, the bookcases, for instance, they're all empty. Here we are in the library of a multi-millionaire, and except for that book over there, there's not a book on the shelf. Now, considering what we've been told, doesn't that seem a little bit strange?
Oh, that, yes, well,
If you ask me, Septimus Tomb never read a book in his life.
but he must have done, or else...
Why would he leave Ermentrude Ash what may turn out to be a small fortune in his will? Exactly.
The whole thing sounds crazy to me.
Well, by the looks of that painting and those two bright sparks we met earlier, I'm beginning to think this whole family must be about only 60 cents to the dollar. We're going to have to move very carefully, Terry. Very carefully indeed.
Didn't notice any dogs when we arrived, did you? Sounded almost like a wolf.
Hi, down there.
They're coming back. Now remember, relax, and leave everything to me.
Well, forgive me, Miss Ash, a slight lapse of memory on my part, but all is settled now. Let me introduce you to the others. Miss Dora Tomb, Mr. Marcus Tomb.
How do you do?
And Miss Franklin, our resident nurse.
Hello.
And Mrs. Hammond, our housekeeper, whom you've already met. Yes, this is Miss Ermentrude Ash, the noted author.
This is my faithful secretary, Terry.
Hello.
No.
Shake hands with Mr. Potter, Marcus.
Let me have about me men who are fat, sleek-headed, and such a sleep o' night.
John Cassius has a lean and hungry look. He thinks too much. Such men are dangerous.
Very good, Marcus. That was word perfect. He's studying for the role of Caesar in the town festival, you know.
Oh, how interesting.
Isn't it? Shall we take a seat, Marcus?
Yes, a good idea. Miss Monica and Miss Emily should be with us shortly, so if you don't mind.
Get your hands off me, you old bitch! Stand back, You lay those slavic fingers on me again, and I'll bite them off at the elbow. Do you understand?
Miss Monica, we have guests present.
Tell them to get lost, and you can... Oh?
Allow me to introduce Miss Ermentrude Ash, the authoress, and her secretary, Mr. Potter.
A peregrine Potter, that is.
Calm down, Horslip. Dinner isn't until after the will reading.
Well, in that case, we have plenty of time to bring your trough through here, don't we?
Good evening, Mrs. Tomb.
Oh, so you're the mysterious Emmy Ash, are you? No wonder the old man took such a shine to you. You're quite a dish for an old lady.
Well,
I've read a couple of your books, as a matter of fact.
oh, and did you like them?
No.
I see.
No offense, man. It's just that all that romantic slush doesn't do anything for me. I like the real thing. Oh. Well, it looks like the fun's ready to begin. I'll make myself comfortable. I can hear you perfectly well from here, Penworthy. Take it away. The floor is yours.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all of you for being here this evening.
This is a will reading, not a garden party. Get on with it.
As you all know, Mr. Toome was one of the country's richest men, and is now...
One of the deadest. Skip the lecture and get on with what he's asked and what we're getting out of it.
If I might be allowed to continue, Miss Emily, thank you. Shortly before his death, instructions were issued to convert all of his possessions, all his assets, with the exception of this house and the grounds, into cash. This was done, much against my advice, I might add, and it realized a total of $7 million.
How much is mine?
Of this $7 million handed over to him, $3 million he deposited in a New York bank. The rest was retained by Mr. Toome himself. Unfortunately, we have no idea what he did with it.
You mean it vanished $4 million?
Exactly. Gone without a trace. However, while the search for it goes on, I am required to read to you the last will and testament of Mr. Toome and the conditions therein. To begin with, Mr. Toome insisted on writing out his will himself, scorning my advice and experience. It was delivered to me with a covering letter of instructions, which I have carried out. I am now ready to reveal the contents of the will.
Not before time.
Oh, be quiet, Emily.
To each of my 6 children, Lucian, Emily, Marcus, Dora, Lucrezia, Monica, and Oliver, the sum of $400,000 each.
Is it all? That's not very much.
To my housekeeper, Agatha Hammond, and my son's nurse, Anne Elizabeth Franklin, providing they are still in my service at the time of my death, the sum of $100,000 each.
100,000? How did you get that?
To my respected and beloved lawyer, Hamilton Penworthy, the sum of $400,000. The remainder of my estate I leave to Miss Ermintrude Ashe, a writer of romantic novels whom I suspect is living in New York City at an unknown address. This I do in gratitude for what she has done for me.
Oh, but I didn't.
Well, as you all know, I have suffered from insomnia for many, many years, and her books put me to sleep quicker than any of the tablets that quack doctor ever gives me. If, however, she decides not to accept this legacy, then split it between the rest of them in equal shares.
Forgery! It's a forgery!
We're fighting this through every court in the land.
$4 million to an absolute stranger?
Not forgetting the house.
But you can't accept it. That money's ours. It belongs to the family. Every penny of it. It's ours.
Congratulations, Miss Ashe. I'm very happy for you.
There is a further passage.
Aha!
In order to protect his interest, if Miss Ashe decides to accept this legacy, she is required to take up residency here in Monument House.
Here? What? Here?
He wanted all your future novels to be written here.
Oh, but I'm afraid that's out of the question, Mr. Penworthy. I couldn't live in this house under any circumstances.
$4 million, Miss Ashe. It's a lot of money. $4 million.
I can't think.
Excuse me, but as I've never been left anything in a will before, I was wondering if you could give me some idea as to when I might be able to get the money.
I see that like Nightingale showing her claws at last.
I'm not asking for myself, Miss Emily. I have a very good reason for wanting to know.
I'll bet.
I regret to have to tell you this, Nurse Franklin, but here we encounter a certain setback, so to speak.
Setback?
Well, as I told you earlier, of the $7 million realized, Mr. Toome himself took 4. The missing millions, which now appear to be the property of Miss Ashe. Well, unfortunately, in making his arrangements for the disposal of his wealth, he completely forgot about inheritance taxes.
Inheritance taxes? What of that then?
In this case, the inheritance taxes on the Tomb estate amount to $3 million. And as this is all the money we could find, it has been turned over to the government. There's not a penny left.
You mean?
We've got nothing?
We're penniless?
Well, unfortunately, we are all in the same boat. None of us will receive a plug nickel unless the $4 million is found and Miss Ash refuses her portion.
But she has refused, haven't you? You can't change your mind now.
Miss Ash has until tomorrow morning. I can take neither exception nor rejection until then. My hands are tied.
And so are your throats, dear, if she walks off with that money.
A lawyer, do something.
I can do nothing until the appointed time. Now I suggest you all go to your rooms and prepare yourselves for dinner.
Dinner?
Well, Miss Ash has a lot to think about. Well, I feel we should leave her in solitude for a while.
It'll be 20 minutes. That should give her plenty of time. Come along, Marcus. Let's get back to your room.
Caesar shall forth. Things that threaten me ne'er look but on my back. When they shall see the face of Caesar, they are vanished.
Very good. Perfect again. Excuse us. And don't worry. They can't do a thing about it. It's all yours.
No. Come on, let's go for Must be the end of the first.
Well, you're a very fortunate lady, Miss Ash.
Oh, it seems.
Yes, it's a lot of money if we find it.
Oh, yes, it is.
I wonder if you'll excuse me.
Harry,
I really should be getting back to the city.
You're not leaving, not tonight.
I'm afraid I've got to work, you know.
But it's so foggy outside. I'm sure I could find you a nice warm bed right here.
That's most kind of you, but I really have to be going.
Harry,
Do what you think best. I'll leave it up to you. I'll see you tomorrow at the office.
I'll walk you to the car.
right. See you first thing. Drive carefully.
So you intend to work tomorrow as usual? After all this excitement?
Well, there's nothing like work to keep the mind occupied.
I couldn't agree more. My sentiments exactly. A little toast to your newfound wealth, providing you accept it, of course.
Oh, I don't see how I can. I mean, I never thought I'd have to live here in order to inherit. It's just impossible.
Oh, then you intend to refuse.
Oh, I didn't say that. I mean, I still have to think things over. I mean, it would have its advantages.
Oh, and its drawbacks, of course.
I'm afraid so. But on the other hand, I might be able to work something out. Subject to certain conditions of my own, that is. $4 million.
If we find it.
But there is the house.
As you say, there is the house.
And $4 million is a lot of money to have in cash, Mr. Penworthy, isn't it? I mean, it would take up an awful lot of room, wouldn't you think?
Well, yes.
Well, has it ever crossed your mind that it might be here, hidden away somewhere in Monument House?
I admit that I, too, once shared that notion, Miss Ash. But an extensive search failed to reveal its whereabouts.
Well, maybe you haven't been looking in the right place. Maybe I can do a better job.
You mean that,
Yes, I decided to accept. If there's $4 million in this house, I intend to have it. It's legally mine, and I know just what I want to do with it.
But what about the family?
Oh, don't worry about them. I'll see to them all right. But they're going to have to leave. I can't have them hanging around while I'm writing.
So your mind is made up?
Yes, it is. Quite made up.
Miss Ash, let me be perfectly honest with you. I had hoped that, under the circumstances, that you would waive your rights to the fortune and the house. After all, you did not know Mr. Toome, and he had never met you. Agreed?
Agreed.
Well, I see now that this is a hopeless and vain wish. You intend to go ahead and claim this fortune. This places me in a rather awkward position. For many years I have served this family and been told on many occasions that I would inherit a considerable amount in the will. No doubt the sum of $400,000 might appear to you to be adequate reward for my services, but I'm afraid I anticipated more and have acted accordingly. Over the years, I have accumulated debts of over $1 million, a sum which needs paying rather urgently. You, Miss Ash, are the only one who can help me, so I shall have the money from you. Oh, not all at once, you understand. One must be discreet. But little by little, the money shall flow to me, and soon I shall have it all. Oh, excuse me. It's quite all right. Miss Ash and I have come to an agreement which will satisfy all parties for the time being. So you see, everything is going to plan, just as I said it would. Naturally, I summoned the aid of Nurse Franklin, but it was too late. Miss Ash was beyond mortal help. It was her heart, of course, that and the shock of her inheritance.
That's all very well, Kenwoody, but why did the wretched woman want to drop dead in this house? Couldn't she have waited until she arrived home?
Well, my dear Mr. Lucien.
Well, you must admit, it was very opportune for everybody.
But of course, it would be hypocritical of us to pretend otherwise. We all stand to gain a great deal from this unfortunate demise, do we not? Whereas before, we had nothing. But now we have the house to share between us.
Not to mention $4 million.
If we ever find them.
Oh, we shall, never fear. But to return to the subject of Miss Ash for a moment. She was a noted author. Her unexpected demise could cause comment in the outside world. Comment and perhaps even suspicion.
Suspicion?
Well, yes, as a matter of course, an autopsy will be performed, and an inquest will certainly be held. I need hardly add that all of us may be called upon to give testimony, especially if it turns out that she did not have a history of heart trouble.
Oh. Are you suggesting that because this perfect stranger chooses to have a heart attack in this house, that his whole family is to be subjected to a public investigation? I won't allow it, Penwoody. I won't allow it.
I wouldn't let that worry you, sweetie pie. There's quite a simple way of avoiding an investigation, isn't there, Penworthy?
Well, as Miss Emily suggests, we do have a way out of our difficulty.
Provided we keep our heads.
I always keep my head.
We can fix it so nobody knows anything about what's happened.
How?
Putting them off the scent, sending them on a wild goose chase.
But I don't understand.
Of course you don't, little bird brain. But Penworthy does, don't you?
Well, what Miss Emily has in mind is this, I think. No one, I repeat, no one has a need to know that Miss Ash died here at Monument House. Her secretary had already left the premises and was well on his way to New York when the unfortunate event occurred. Well, this being the case, with the exception of us, there is no one in a position to prove that she had not followed him.
Then there's no need to bring the police into this after all. Interfering busybodies. Let them chase motorists.
Well, and then they can put her under the rose beds with the Morris dancing team.
Oh, Dora, sometimes I think you go too far.
There's only one thing. What's going to happen when she doesn't return to New York? This is the first place they're going to look for her.
Of course. But if we present them with irrefutable proof that she did follow him to New York...
And how do we do that?
Well, we have in our possession the poor woman's clothing, do we not? Yes, it being exceedingly foggy at the moment, I feel that a female figure attired in those clothes could easily pass for the late authoress. If one of you ladies were to put on those clothes, board the next New York train, making absolutely certain that you were noticed by a convenient red cab, then, once aboard and underway, change back into your own clothes, get off at the next stop, dispose of the unwanted garments, and return here to Monument House. Are we agreed?
Except for one thing. Little goody two-shoes upstairs. How do you intend to keep her quiet? She knows the ash woman didn't leave here alive. She's still probably still trying to bring her around.
She's right.
She could ruin everything.
She could, but she won't.
You mean?
We're going to have to answer.
My dear Miss Emily, I'm sure that we don't need to take such drastic action at this time. After all, Nurse Franklin stands to gain a not inconsiderable sum in return for her silence.
But it's better to be sure than sorry. Monica, go fetch her.
The police.
Shh. Agatha!
Hello. Sorry to bother you again, but I've had a bit of an accident. May I come in?
Mrs. Hammond, who is it? Oh, Mr. Potter, you poor boy. Whatever has befallen you? Oh, come in by the fire. Oh, Mrs. Hammond. Some dry towels, if you would. Oh.
I missed a turning at the end of the drive and went nose first into the river. Couldn't see a thing for the fog.
Oh, you poor darling.
Frozen. Oh, we have to sweat things off you at once.
Miss Monica.
Oh, you're so cold.
I'm sure that Mr. Potter is perfectly capable of undressing himself. If you are indeed so anxious to help, I suggest that you go find some dry clothing for him.
I'll be right back.
And if Miss Emily would stir up the fire, we'll soon have it nice and warm in here for you, Mr. Potter. What a terrible thing for you.
I'll say, lucky I'm a good swimmer. I'd have been a goner.
Oh, most fortunate. So, your car is now at the bottom of the river?
Sunk without a trace. And if the door latch hadn't been faulty, I could have been down there with it.
How interesting.
Frida's been furious. She's held me had it for just over a week. Where is she, by the way?
Frida?
I mean Miss Ash.
I thought her name was Ermentrude.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's not. It sort of is and it isn't, if you know what I mean.
No, we don't know what you mean. Perhaps you'd better tell us.
Indeed you had.
Well, it's rather difficult, you see. Perhaps she'd better tell you herself.
He'd much prefer to hear it from you.
Yes, she's not in a position to tell us anything right now.
Well, it's quite simple, really.
It was rather difficult a few moments ago.
Well, yes, it is. It's sort of... Well, the whole thing is to be quite truthful about it.
And I do hope you are going to be truthful, Mr. Potter.
Oh, yes, of course. Her name isn't Ermentrude Ash at all. It's Frida Mountjoy.
Then what happened to the real Ermentrude Ash?
Nothing at all. That's just the name she writes under, her pen name.
Oh, her nom de plume. I'm afraid you had us all worried there for a moment, Mr. Potter.
I had me worried, too.
Yes, we were afraid that we were harboring an imposter in our midst.
Imposter?
Well, now, let's get you out of these wet things and get them out to Mrs. Hammond so that she can iron them and press them and get them back to you in no time. The ladies. If you ladies would please leave us for a short time so that our guest can disrobe. And if you see Mrs. Hammond, why, hurry her along, please. The good lady herself.
Best I could manage.
Thank you, I guess that will be all.
I'm waiting for his clothes.
The clothes will be brought out to you in due course. Now, if you wouldn't mind closing the door after you. Well, Mr. Potter, the room is yours.
I never thought I'd be coming back here so soon. When I went over to the edge, I thought my last hour had come. Thank goodness for the good old American workman.
We thought you'd be miles away by now.
You didn't mind me coming back here, did you?
Oh, not at all. In fact, we're rather happy that you did so. If you hadn't, why, it could have presented a rather delicate problem for us.
It could have been a delicate problem for me, too. Explain to Frida about the car. You wouldn't mind telling her back, would you?
Oh, I'd rather not disturb her at the moment. The poor lady was dead to the world the last I saw her.
Lying down?
Oh, but of course. Would you continue, please? Thank you.
Mr. Penrose, I've got to talk to you. Mr. Potter, I thought you'd gone.
Nurse Franklin, Mr. Potter is changing.
I fell in the river.
But I've got to talk to you. It's important now. I've got to talk to you. That woman didn't die of a heart attack. She was...
Nurse, to what woman are you referring? Excuse me. He doesn't know yet. I haven't been able to tell him.
But she's been poisoned.
Poisoned? Oh, come, Nurse Franklin. Let's not get melodramatic. How you can't be certain about that?
She was drugged with some form of paralyzing agent that caused her heart to stop. The symptoms are unmistakable. She's been murdered, I tell you.
This is unbelievable.
And there's only one person who could have been responsible for it, and we both know who it is.
You don't mean that you think it's...
It's Dora. I never really believed Emily's wild accusations about the homemade wines and the flower beds. But it's true, isn't it? Every word of it. Dora kills people.
May I ask what you intend to do about this, nurse?
Well, I'm going to call the police, of course. What do you think I'm going to do?
Oh, wait.
I think we've wasted enough time already.
Something wrong, is there?
Oh, Mr. Potter, I'd forgotten about you. No, nothing wrong. Merely a slight technical problem. I need to... pray excuse me for a moment.
I brought you these.
Oh, thank you. I didn't see you come in.
That's because I came in the quick way. I didn't want you to catch a chill.
That's most thoughtful of you.
Oh, I can be very considerate.
Really?
Would you like me to dry your back for you?
No, thank you. I can manage.
You only say the word.
Oh?
And I would do anything.
I'm sure you would.
Well, now that you know I'm willing, I think I'll just sit here in case you change your mind.
Pardon?
What a beautiful body you have.
This whole thing.
Are you sure you don't need any help, Harry?
Positive, thank you.
Oh, Harry Green.
No.
You're so sexy.
Get off, let go.
Who's shooting? What's happening?
Who's shooting down there? This is the police.
Check the dining room.
It's the police. Help me, Lucy. Help me.
Mr. Potter, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. They came from up there.
But who fired a gun in the house?
I don't know.
Anything here? No, it was out there. Upstairs? No, Dora's upstairs. She thought it came from down here. Dora doesn't know whether she's on this earth or Mars.
This is monstrous, monstrous. I will not have people shooting in this house. Who was it, I demand to know?
I don't know.
Lucian, what's happening? Why won't anyone tell me?
Because we don't know, you old bird brain. That's what we're trying to find out. Marcus, has anyone seen him? Marcus, where are you?
Who isn't in the press that calls on me?
Marcus, what were you doing down there? You haven't been bothering Oliver again, have you? He was in the cellar.
Best place for him.
The business repair was in. I am to blame that he's us waited for.
We heard heard the shots and we thought there was an accident, and then when we didn't see you, we were
How foolish do your fears seem now, Calpurnia.
Dress rehearsal, is it?
He is a dreamer. Let us leave him.
No one's leaving this room until I find out who fired those shots, who and what.
Well, if someone doesn't make a move, we're never going to find out. Where's Monica?
Perhaps Mr. Penworthy.
Yes, where is the man? Has anyone seen him?
Well, he was in here with Mr. Potter a few minutes ago.
Maybe he went to tell Frida to come back. She was lying down, he said. I hope she's all right. She hates loud noises, and those shots were enough to waken the dead.
That's wishful thinking if I ever heard it.
Mr. Potter, you've got to know sometime, and I think it's only fair for me to tell you that Miss Ashton...
What?
Monica! What? It came from the cellars!
One moment. There is no need for haste, I regret to say. Master Oliver is beyond human aid.
Oliver?
Shot down by an unknown assailant while chained in his cell. I found this in the passage.
Oliver?
There is no need for further examination. I have already identified it as belonging to your late father. The only question is, who fired it?
There's the point.
Excuse me, but shouldn't you have left it where it was? I mean, won't the police mind?
He's right. You shouldn't have touched it. You, of all people, should know better than that.
Well, indeed I do. But to leave it lay there would afford the murderer an opportunity to return and retrieve it.
Why should he want to do that?
Well, I suspect that I inadvertently disturbed him in the commission of the crime, thus causing him to drop the weapon. That being the case, we may have reason for rejoicing. If the murderer did not wear gloves, his fingerprints may be on the gun, and we shall have him.
Wait a minute. Who killed it? That gun. It belongs to the master. You've no right to touch it. Give it here.
I found it outside Oliver's cell. We suspect that it has the murderer's fingerprints on it.
And don't be such a fool. Wipe them off. You'll get no thanks for interfering in things that don't concern you.
Wipe them off?
You must be mad.
There's nothing wrong with my mind, Nurse Franklin. There's only one person in this household that ever used that gun, and that's the master.
But he's dead, Agatha. You know he is.
Do I? What happened in that cellar happened for the best, in my opinion. And now that I know that it was the master's doing, I'm more than satisfied. So should you be. Now, take my advice, hand over that gun, dispose of the body, and forget all about it.
I'm afraid your suggestion is out of the question, Mrs. Hammond. Whatever your beliefs, a crime has been committed, and the wheels of the law must be set in motion.
Here, here.
Very well. On your head, Spear. But if this isn't what the master wants, then there'll be even more deaths before this night is over. Now, I suggest that one of you goes down there and helps Miss Monica with the body. Dinner will be served in 10 minutes.
I guess it had better be me. I hope you realize how right I was now.
About what?
Well, Nurse Franklin has convinced me that we have a double murderer hidden here in the house.
Double?
Oliver and Miss Ash, of course.
Oh,
Frida? You mean my Frida?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to break it to you like that. I just didn't think.
Dead? But you can't be. Not Frida.
Oh, I'm sorry. Truly I am.
But it's only been a few minutes since you told me she was lying down.
we can hardly prop her up in a corner.
A foolish attempt on my part to conceal the fact of her demise from you.
Well, why? What happened to her?
Well, I think Miss Ash...
As I am the instigator in this situation, I think I shall do the explaining. If you would go down and help Miss Monica, please, I'll endeavor to give Mr. Potter the full story.
All right. But before I do anything, I'm going to have another try at getting through to the police. The sooner we get them out here, the better.
If you'll have a seat, please.
Never mind about that. What happened to Frida?
She was poisoned.
But you said she'd had a heart attack.
Poison?
Well, it wasn't me. It wasn't. They were all locked away. You know they were.
How did it happen?
I have no idea. At first we thought that it was the shock of her inheritance that brought on a heart attack.
Impossible!
But then Nurse Franklin detected signs of poisoning and informed me with all speed.
Well, why didn't you tell me when I came back? Why all the secrecy?
The telephone is dead. I can't get a sound from it.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. There's not even a crackle.
Typical telephone company blundering. I will put a complaint in at once.
Well, it was all right a few minutes ago. Before we heard the shots, I was getting a busy signal. You don't suppose it's been tampered with, do you?
What sayest thou?
You mean the wires have been cut? I don't know. It's just dead.
It's vandalism, sheer and utter vandalism. I shall go to the governor, to the very top, the very top.
Oh, so does this mean we can't call the police in now?
It means nothing of the sort. I'll get my coat on and walk down to the village for them myself. I can do it in a half an hour.
But the fog.
Oh, don't worry. I know the way blindfolded.
I better come with you.
I prefer you didn't, if you don't mind. I'd rather everybody stayed right here in this house. That way I know I'll be safe.
One moment, nurse. Why would we let you walk out of here? How do we know that you did not poison Miss Ash and shoot Master Oliver? Oh, I'm not accusing you, but how do we know? Perhaps I had better go for the authorities.
And how do we know you didn't do it? You got the gun.
Oh, Mr. Potter, do I look like a murderer? Mrs. Hammond, my hat and coat, please.
Just a minute, Penworthy. Before you get carried away with your own importance, what proof do we have that the Ash woman was poisoned? You've only got her word for it.
Emily's right.
I do happen to be a trained nurse, Miss Emily.
Well, she could have made a mistake.
I'm not in the habit of making mistakes, Miss Dora. That woman was poisoned, and we're all aware of who did it.
We suspect Nurse Franklin.
We know she was poisoned by Miss Dora, deliberately and intentionally, to keep her from leaving this house.
You have no right to accuse Miss Dora without proof or reason.
Reason? If that woman had left here after receiving her legacy, she'd still be alive. Can you deny that?
Well, and how do you know that she did accept it? Were you listening at the keyhole, perhaps?
There was no need. It's obvious she accepted. If she had left here alive, the rest of us would have been left penniless, and she had to be killed to prevent that from happening.
How dare you?
You mean? Oh, no, it couldn't have been.
And what about Oliver? Are you suggesting she killed him too?
Why not? Then there'd be one less person to share the money with.
Nurse Franklin, you have accused Miss Dora of the most heinous of crimes with only your suspicion. Well, while I will admit that it's possible, I say possible, for Miss Ash to have died after partaking of some homemade wine, your assumption that the family needed her death in order to regain their fortune is completely erroneous. Nothing could be further from the truth.
What's that, Penworthy?
Well, Nurse Franklin, being a layman, so to speak, could not know of a certain technical legal point that, regrettably, I have concealed from you up to now.
Well, then,
In a case like this, where the deceased person's assets after death prove insufficient to meet the terms of the will, then the amount that does remain is divided among the beneficiaries in as equal proportions as originally intended.
So the missing millions are ours after all.
Well, a good portion of them. The house would have passed to Miss Ash, plus whatever monies remained after the division of the estate.
Then why didn't you tell us this before, letting us believe we were penniless? This is an outrage, Penworthy, an absolute outrage.
What difference does it make? Nothing he said has changed a thing. That woman still had to die. Dora couldn't risk her discovering what she's got buried in the gardens.
Nurse Franklin, I refuse to listen to any more of your vile accusations. You may leave this house at once. At once, do you hear?
With pleasure.
Now, one moment. I regret to say that no one, with the exception of myself, may leave this house until I return with the authorities. Any attempt by any of you to do so will be looked upon by them with great suspicion. Am I understood? Has the fog lifted yet?
Thicker than ever.
Well, then the sooner I begin, the better.
Blasted stuff, it's all those government experiments, if you ask me.
I'll lay you 10 to 1 he loses himself before he gets to the gates.
Come along, Marcus. Let's get you out of that toga and into a nice suit, shall we?
Well, why? What's wrong with him the way he is?
Well, the police may want to question him when they arrive.
But why should they? He hasn't done anything. This pair of murders had absolutely nothing to do with the family. They were the work of a complete outsider.
Here, here.
And the only outsider we've had here this week is him.
Hey, murderer.
Don't be such a fool, Dora.
She's not. We never had murders here before he arrived. Never.
Ours were all accidents and suicides.
Besides, none of the family would shoot Oliver. It's far too messy for us. It's going to be him.
Well, it wasn't. I wouldn't know how to begin to kill anybody.
Just as I thought, a total lack of imagination.
This is incredible. How can you stand here and accuse this poor man? I just don't know. In the first place, he wasn't even here when this ash was poisoned. And as for killing Oliver, he wouldn't know how to find him in that maze of corridors.
Unless he had help from another outsider.
You're surely not suggesting that I had anything to do
Why
with it.
not? As you so beautifully pointed out when you were accusing dear Dora here, none of us, including yourself, expected to get anything unless the ash woman died. Ooh, better than a nurse to slip her a dose of something deadly, eh?
Very interesting theory, Miss Emily, but you seem to have forgotten one thing. My job is to save lives, not take them.
So was Dr. Kevorkian. I'll be in my room if the police want to see me.
I too refuse to remain in your company, Nurse Franklin. As soon as this criminal is arrested and removed from these premises, I shall be obliged if you will pack your bags and follow him. Come, Dora.
Bluebeard!
I'm sorry.
They're manners, hatters, all of them.
But Mr. Potter,
How do you stand it being cooped up with them? Miles from anywhere, aren't you afraid?
Of all the wonders which I have yet heard, men's fears seem the strangest. For death, a necessary end, will come when it will come.
Marcus,
What can be avoided which is purposed by the mighty gods?
go to your room and change, dear. I'll be up in a couple minutes. I have to talk to Mr. Potter.
Caesar shall forth.
Look, I know this has all been a terrible shock for you, and it has for all of us. We never expected anything like this to happen when you arrived. But I'd just like to tell you that
Something wrong, is there?
there's someone in the garden.
Eh?
There's someone, I thought I saw someone there by the shrubs.
Are you sure?
Well, it could have been a trick of the light, but no, there it is. There is someone out there. Who is it? Who's there?
I can't see a thing.
Wait here, I'm going to go get a flashlight.
You're not going out there alone, are you?
Why not? I want to know what's going on.
I'll come with you.
Ah! Oh! Oh, he tried to kill me! He tried to kill me! Oh, no! No! Oh! Oh! Oh, my God! He's been stabbed! Oh! Like a light.
How do you spell outrage? One Y or two?
Oh, one, you illiterate. And where are you off to, my pretty maid?
Mind your own business.
It is my business. Everything that happens in this house is my business. Now, where are you going?
If you get your greasy hands off me, pig face, if you must know, I'm going to have a couple of words with him in private.
Oh, yeah? What else did you have in mind? Careful, darling. I might snap it off at the wrist.
If you must know, I want to talk to him about last night.
What about it?
I found out something he should know.
Like what, for instance?
Like who's behind all this, the murderers and everything.
You mean you know?
Where? Who was it?
Oh, be quiet, Luce. You're not asked a
But
question.
I have a right to know. I'm the head of this family.
Be quiet. Who was it?
You mean you don't know, sister?
Who was it?
Emily?
Who was it?
Oh, let's
Who
go.
was it?
Well, you're hurting me.
I don't care. Who was it?
Oh, my gosh.
Emily, release this Monica's arm, if you please.
had done the murders, and Emily was just trying to find out.
I see. And what were you intending to do with your knowledge?
Oh, what does it matter?
Exactly. What we know and what we think we know are best kept to ourselves. We want no more deaths in this household unless they're natural ones. Is that understood?
Well, you don't have to worry about that, do you? There won't be. It's all over.
Over. How can it be when that man is still in our midst? We could all be murdered in our beds. In my view, I hold him entirely responsible for what's happened here. And I've told the governor so in that letter, and I've demanded an immediate arrest.
I'm sure you have, Master Lucian, but there'll be no arrest. Everything is under control, so we don't need to bring strangers into this. It will be our secret.
Bad chance of that. Not with Florence Nighty-Night and that pansy secretary running around loose.
But they won't be running around loose, will they, Miss Emily?
What do you mean?
Have you all forgotten? There's an empty car at the bottom of the river.
Oh, no, not Perry.
Oh, yes, Miss Monica. 2 accidental but perfectly natural deaths. And I think you will find that all the loose ends have been quite nicely tied up. Think about it. Will you all be requiring morning coffee?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Father? Oh, just look at it out there. So lovely and thick. It's simply perfect for the funeral.
What funerals?
Oh, why, there's, of course. I thought of the most marvelous place for them. By the south wall, underneath the rose beds. Those bushes have been looking kind of sickly these last few months. Put the body into them.
I'll be digging no graves today, not in that lot.
Well, we can't leave them lying around for the police to find. We have to bury them.
Miss Dora's right. They can't stay in the house. Not if our plan is to work.
Ah, we can shove them into the vault for now. There's nobody goes creeping down there these days.
But 2 of them are outside, and one's a perfect stranger.
But Emily's right, dear. The vault would be a good place for them for the time being.
But
we can have a proper funeral later when the weather brightens.
But the family vault is for the exclusive use of this family. You let one outsider have the use of it, and before you know where they are, they'll all be clamoring to get inside. It could even be nationalized.
But it's only for a short while, dear.
Oh, all right, don't mind me. I'm only the eldest.
We might as well get it over with before Nursey comes back. There's no point in waiting for her to give us a hand.
And besides, she may as well make the most of the few hours she's got left. Coffee will be ready in 10 minutes.
I'll get the flashlight, shall I?
Flashlights. Why do we need flashlights? We've got a perfectly adequate electric light system in this house, do we not?
If
There
they
will be if it ever gets finished.
This is impossible. We paid hundreds of dollars to have them fixed.
There hasn't been an electrician in this house since last summer. If you remember correctly, dumb Dora here offered the workmen some homemade sherry and tea cakes on their coffee break. They never did manage to finish. We've got them under the marigolds. Why do you think that damn generator's been clanking for the past 6 months?
I won't have it. I won't have it.
I'm sorry, Lucian. I thought they'd finished.
I put in a complaint at once, Celia, at once.
Who we take first?
Ladies first, what do you think?
Come on.
Oh, incompetence. Absolute fortune. Disgraceful. Hello? Who? Yes. Of course it's me. Who did you think it was? What? My laboratory? How dare they? How dare they? I shall come at once, immediately.
Forget that in your speed, Antonius, to touch Calpurnius. For our elders say that the Baron, touched in this holy chase, may give up their sterile curse.
Oh, get out of my way, you lunatic!
Nor heaven nor earth are at peace tonight. Thrice hath Calpurnia called out in her sleep, help, ho! They murder Caesar. Who's within? Aha!
And two brute?
Mr. Marcus! Oh, no, not you two! Why, Mr. Septimus? Why him?
What was it? Ah, don't shoot.
He's dead.
It doesn't matter. I won't tell anyone, promise.
Murdered. So, that's it.
What's happened? Who fired? Marcus! Oh, Marcus!
She shot him.
He's still breathing. Quick, get me some clean towels and a blanket and some dressings. Oh, God, hurry, woman!
You're not going to let her run around loose with that thing, are you?
Oh, don't be so stupid, Perry. She didn't shoot him. She worshipped the ground he walked on.
But the gun.
Oh, she probably just picked it up on the floor. Let me have your coat. I want to use it for a cushion. Oh, thanks.
You won't get blood on it, will you? It's the one I borrowed. Sorry, is he going to be all right?
How should I know? He's bleeding like fury and the bullet's still in him. Where is she with those things?
Should we try to get him upstairs or something?
He doesn't have a dog's chance if we move him now.
I wonder what that paper was that Agatha took off him.
What paper?
He had it in his hand. She seemed very interested in it. It looked like a certificate or something.
Well, it couldn't have been anything very important. The poor boy wouldn't know one.
It's no use, man.
I think I'm going to be sick.
Then try to do it quietly. Pass me that water. Hey, leave the nursing to me, will you? And just stick to running the household. Where are the others?
Taking the other bodies down to the vault.
Doing what? Those bodies shouldn't be moved until the police arrive.
If they ever do.
Oh, they'll arrive all right. As soon as I've got this wound under control, I'm going down for them myself.
No, you can't. Remember what happened last night?
I've got to, Perry. If he doesn't get expert medical attention soon, he's going to die. That bullet's still in him.
He hasn't a chance, miss. The poor lamb's dead.
Will you stop saying that? If we can just get him to a hospital, he'll be fine. I know he will.
It's no use, miss. He's done for. And you know it.
If you say that one more time, I'll slap you. Now get out of here. Give me my coat.
Wait, Ann, let me go for the place. You stay and look after him. You can't leave him on his own, can you?
I don't intend to. You can look after him for me. You seem to be the only one I can trust.
Well, what if the killer comes after you to stop you?
Oh, I'll take the gun. That way he wouldn't dare try anything.
There'll be no need for that. I'll go. I see now I've done been wrong. It's obvious he needs help, and he'll not harm me, no matter what he's done to the others.
Who won't?
The master, of course. He's a sick man.
For the last time, Agatha.
Oh, he's gone! Gone! The coffin's open and he's gone! Marcus!
He's just been wounded, that's all. He'll be okay. Now calm down and speak clearly. Who's gone? Whose coffin is open?
Father's!
Oh, no, not body snatching as well.
Oh, the liver on the floor! Absolutely shattered! It's horrible, horrible!
There.
People just don't realize how expensive good marble is these days.
And you say the body is missing?
Yes, he's been stolen. I know he has.
That's if he were ever in there to begin with. From the beginning, Agatha's been convinced that the funeral was a put-up job and old man Toome didn't really die. Now I think she was right. Where is she, by the way?
Down the hall, I think, to the kitchen.
You stay here with Dora and keep an eye on Marcus. He'll be all right for a few minutes. But don't leave this room under any circumstances. Do you understand?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to find your father.
Oh, I don't understand what's going on. Why is everybody dying like this? It simply isn't amusing anymore.
Amusing?
It wasn't like this in the old days. We had finesse then.
Really?
Oh, people trusted us. That's how the family made our millions. It was all done with charm and discretion. There was never a suggestion of suspicion from anyone.
Oh?
Oh, well, you wouldn't know, would you? But we're direct descendants of the Borgias. Oh, yes, Alexander's sister Marcella married Giuseppe de Tombra just 4 weeks before he died. It was her first success. Naturally, no one suspected a thing, which was rather remarkable for those times. She was a lady who liked to travel and eventually came to New York with her son Marcus, anglicized her name, and went into business. Naturally, in a backward place like this, she was a great success. The Italian methods were very popular. Why, even the royal family... we've always tried to live up to her standards, even during the last few years, but now this, all these common murders and all in one night, oh.
Oh, Barry! Take me away from here! Take me away from here!
What is it? What happened?
He's dead! In the kitchen! He did it with a meat axe! It was horrible! She was behind the door. I didn't see her at first. And she slipped down right into my arms. Oh, it was awful!
I don't understand. She said there'd be no more murders. She promised. We only had to dispose of you two.
Sit down, I'll get you a drink.
Oh, it was just awful. I didn't see her and she just slid right down.
Here, it'll do you good.
No! I don't want to drink that. It could be poison.
That's Madeira.
I don't care what it is. I'm not eating or drinking another thing in this house. We've got to get out of here now.
What about him?
Oh, we can't. We can't leave him like that. Not with him like that.
We can always leave him until we get help.
We can't leave him alone in this house. I have an idea now of what's going on. I'm sure that the late Mr. Toome isn't late at all. He's very much alive and completely insane.
How dare you?
For reasons best known to himself, he's only been pretending to be dead, thus giving him the chance to murder his family and employees in absolute safety.
That's ridiculous, Anne. He couldn't fool the doctor and the undertaker, not to mention old Penworthy.
Well, who says he did? Don't you see, Perry? He bribed them to keep quiet. That way they'd say anything he wanted them to. It's the answer to everything.
Well, what about Frida? Where does she fit in?
I don't know. Are you sure they haven't met before?
Positive. She's never met him ever.
Well, there must be some connection. That story about the books is just too ridiculous for words.
But there wasn't.
There has to be, or why include her in the will?
Why include her in the will if he's going to kill her? It doesn't make any sense. And anyway...
I know. It was the only way he could get her to come to Monument House, by making her think he was dead.
But I keep telling you, she's never set eyes on him.
Well, then, I don't know. You think of something.
All right, how about this? Tontine. It's a perfect solution. Last survivor takes all.
In the first place, the tontine is illegal. And in the second place, it was all his to begin with, so what's the point?
I didn't think of that bit.
Well, what if he's right? What if it is a tontine?
It can't be, not with your father still alive.
But if he isn't, if he really is dead,
Then
it must be one of the family, mustn't it? Oh, how beautiful. I should have realized, shouldn't I? It's the work of a genius. That fine Italian hand. The hand of a tomb.
yes, a tomb with a view to polishing off everybody named in that will. We've got to get out of here, Anne.
Oh, did you find him?
Not a sign. Whoever took him out of the boat did a good job.
Oh,
Unless he walked.
Don't talk rubbish. He didn't walk anywhere.
You're bleeding.
Oh.
Let me see. No, I must have
Uncle.
Dead? No, not yet.
Marcus!
Don't touch him. He's lost a lot of blood.
Oh, who did it?
That's what we'd all like to know.
He's dead! He's dead!
No, he's still holding on, but only just.
He's as cold as a marble slab.
I told you he's lost a lot of blood, but you're right. He can't last much longer without help. We just got to do something.
How did it happen?
I don't know. Agatha found him. She took the gun and went out. She ran smack into the killer. He was waiting for her in the kitchen.
But what was he doing here? And why are these papers all over the floor?
The will. He must be looking for the will.
Never mind about that for the moment. I want to know who killed Agatha and shot Marcus.
Presumably the same one who killed all the others, your father.
Oh, right. Father didn't kill him or them. Penworthy killed the first two, and I killed Penworthy. I was watching him when he left the house. But instead of going down the drive, he slipped back into the bushes with a gun in his hand and headed towards the house. I knew he was up to something, so I helped myself to a kitchen knife, and I slipped out after him. I caught up with him just in time to see him take aim, and I got him before he had a chance to squeeze the trigger.
Oh, Monica.
So it was you all along.
You saved her life, Monica. He couldn't possibly have missed her from that distance.
Hit him, mister, by a mile. He was aiming at you.
Well, I mean, I can't believe that that's happened. How do we know that you're telling the truth? How do we know it didn't happen the other way around? That Penworthy spotted you in the garden, and you had to kill him to keep him quiet.
And?
Well, she could have moved your father's body from the vault and hidden it in the tunnel. No one knows their way around them like she does.
You're out of your mind.
Somebody is. One of you is a killer. A killer not content with murdering your own family, but slaughtering innocent outsiders as well.
Now you just listen to me.
Don't you touch me. Don't touch me. Well, I'm not going to be victim number 6. You can have my share of the money if that's what you're after. I don't want a penny of it. Do you hear me? Not a penny. I just want to stay alive and get help for poor Marcus. Do you understand? For Marcus. Now, I'm going up to my room and get my coat, and then I'm going down to the village. Please don't follow me, any of you. I'll be quite safe.
And how do you know?
Because I'm taking the gun with me, and I'll shoot the first one of you I see following me.
Anne, wait, listen!
Well, really?
Aren't our nurses wonderful?
Don't suppose there's any truth in that what she's saying about you doing a Pickford job on Papa, do you?
So what do you think?
I wouldn't put it past you. Not when there's a chance of you getting your mitts on $4 million.
Listen to the pot. If anyone pulled him out of that vault, you're the most likely suspect. You've got muscles like an ox.
It doesn't take muscles if you got a slate loose. Even Madame Defarge here could manage that. I'll bet you could swing a nifty meat axe with those bird-like talons of yours.
If she could have, you'd have found out years ago.
What about Lucy Boy? Do you think he couldn't carry a corpse on his back? Where is he, by the way?
Does it matter?
Well, I think it's time we got our heads together and did some serious thinking. I'll go get him.
Not by yourself, sweet one. We'll both go just to be safe.
Ah! What makes you think you'd be safe with me?
Because Dora will know that we left together, that's why.
Well, I'll come too if you like.
Oh, we're not going on to the ferry. You stay here and see, look after him. If you hear anything, just scream.
Poor Marcus. So still and so white and so cold. Oh, warm. We need warmth. Burn, burn, burn.
She's locked herself in. Wouldn't even listen to me. I heard her bolt the door.
Did you? How very unfortunate.
Oh, why's that?
Well, what if someone tries to kill her?
He has no hope. The door must be a foot thick and soundproof.
But he wouldn't use the doorways, would he? He'd use the passage behind the fireplace. We hardly ever use the doors here anymore. The tunnels are much quicker.
You meaning so get at her?
And we wouldn't even hear her scream.
Anne!
Fool! Hello there. Lucian? Is that you? Hello? Papa? Are you there? Papa? Hello?
Don't be so ridiculous, Perry. I told you I'd be all right. Marcus.
But she was here a minute ago. Dora?
He's
Miss
dead.
June? She must have gone through here.
Dora! Dora, where are you? Dora!
Ann, come back.
Dora! We've got to get help, Perry. We've got to get help. Everybody, help! Help!
Did you find her? She all right?
There's not a trace. We've got to find her, Perry. She could be in danger, terrible danger.
What are we going to do?
Well, we have to go into the tunnels and find her. We don't have a minute to lose.
What's happened? What's wrong?
Dora, she's gone into the tunnels, and Marcus is dead.
Dora? Come on, follow me.
What is it?
Dora, she's missing.
Dora!
Where the hell have you been? We thought you were missing.
Well, I'm sorry, but the panel opened and no one came out.
Fool,
I
Dora!
went in.
You fool, Dora! You could have been killed. And what's that?
I don't know. I found it in the tunnel. It's got Father's writing on it. It's quite heavy.
What is it?
His writing? And where did it come from? Wasn't there last night.
I don't know. Maybe it's the money.
In there?
Maybe it's a small fortune.
Here.
I found it. I found it.
Let's have a look at what we've got.
What is it? Oh!
And this one green bottle, should I suddenly fall? There may be 3 green bottles.
Dora! Something wrong, nurse? Wrong? Why doesn't it clear? Why doesn't it go?
Feeling the strain, are we? Bit in a hurry?
We've got to get help, Emily, before it's too late. For what? Before there's another murder, of course.
Who says there's going to be another? You?
Well, he's not going to stop now, is he? Not after going this far. Can't you see that? He's going to kill us all. You just got to get through to the police.
Well, what's stopping you?
You know what's stopping me.
Do I? Oh, yes, the gun. Vanished again, isn't it? Pity about that.
Is that all you can say? Can't you get it through your thick skull that we're all in deadly danger here, as long as that gun is unaccounted for? There's still a bullet left in it.
Is that so?
I just... The knife was there on the kitchen table. I saw it with my own eyes. I would have picked it up if Agatha had fallen on me.
Pity you got distracted then, wasn't it? You could have been miles away from here by now. Who's keeping those two?
Perhaps I'd better go and have a look.
No, no one goes anywhere alone. Remember, that's what we agreed upon, and that's the way it's going to be.
Well, it may be what you agreed upon, Nurse Franklin, but I'll make my own agreement. Thank you very much.
Emily, tell her.
Why should I? If she wants to go out there, she can. I shall.
Then you're mad. You're just asking to be killed.
Nobody's going to be killed. If there's going to be any guests around here, there's going to be me, dying of starvation, waiting for those blasted sandwiches. Monica!
Coming.
And not before time either. They've been down there long enough to bake the bread.
Sorry it took so long. I kept getting us sidetracked.
So I noticed.
You did tell us to keep our eyes on each other, didn't you, dear?
Perhaps I should have said hands off as well.
A sandwich?
No, thank you. I'm not hungry.
Well, I certainly am.
You've got to eat something, and it's been 24 hours.
I don't care if it's been 24 months. I'm not eating or drinking a thing in this house.
But
And that's final.
they're perfectly safe. Honestly, I made it with my own fair hands. Monica watched me.
I bet she did.
My, look at those green eyes flashing.
Come on, Ann, you don't want to starve to death, do you? Sorry. Have one of these. No one can tamper with an apple.
Tell that to Snow White. Those are my property. If she wants apples, she can get her own.
You can spare one.
For her?
That's okay, Perry. Let her keep them.
I intend to. Yes.
Stick your fingers down the throat quickly. No, here, let me. I know.
That's
She's been poisoned with cyanide. It was in the apple. The one you were trying to give to me.
And?
You were trying to kill me. And if it hadn't been for her, you would have.
No, Ann.
Keep away from me.
Listen to me.
Murderer.
Eh?
Don't panic, lover boy. I know you didn't pull this one off. Not unless you're a damn sight smarter than you look.
Oh, I'm not. Honestly, I'm not.
No, I've seen the way you look at our pretty Miss Franklin. Like a moonstruck cow. I wish I knew how she did it. No, you'd not take the chance of her sinking her teeth into a poisoned apple.
Well, somebody must have done it.
Yes, and there aren't many of us left, are there? But still, it's one less to share the spoils with when we find them.
Monica?
There's nothing of a hypocrite about me. I hated her guts, and she hated mine. Besides, it might benefit the whole country. It's probably saved us from a famine.
She was your sister.
And now she's my late sister.
Oh. Oh, look.
The fog is lifting. We can leave now.
Oh, wait. Can't you wait just a little longer to make sure?
Are you kidding? I'm going up and get Ann. We're getting out of here as fast as we can.
Oh, Perry.
Ann! Ann!
What is it, Dora?
The Chinese vase, it's broken.
Is she dead?
I don't know. She's so still.
Bring her through here.
Is it safe to move her?
You can't just leave her laying out here. Come on. Over there. You got her?
Oh, Ann. Ann!
Let me see. Yep, out cold.
I didn't expect her to be after falling down those stairs. It's a wonder she wasn't killed.
Yes.
What's the matter?
I was just wondering, what was it that made her scream the first time? Before she fell, what had she seen?
Oh,
What is it?
I've just remembered. That's the same spot Aunt Minerva landed when she fell. Broke every bone in her body and never even touched that vase.
Ann, wake up.
There's no sense in patting her cheek like that. The drape will give her pneumonia. We need some smelling salts.
They didn't help Aunt Minerva.
Dora.
Oh, all right, I'll get some.
Wait. Shouldn't we move Emily's body before Ann comes around? It doesn't seem decent to leave her lying there.
All right, we'll put her in next door.
In the dining room?
I can't think of a more fitting place for her. You take her shoulder. Look,
What is it?
tripwire marks just starting to come through.
You mean?
Somebody meant her to be a flying nurse. It must have been stretched across the top of the stairs.
Goes right around the ankle, too. Nasty.
Yes, very nasty. Very nasty indeed. Quick, let's move this carcass. She's coming around. Harry.
It's all right, dear. I'm here. I'll look after you.
Harry.
Oh, you want to have a little talk with your Mr. Potter, do you, dear?
Harry.
Oh, well, we can't have that, can we? There's no telling what you might say, not when you're delirious.
Harry.
Well, you just relax now and lie still. I'll make you a little bit more comfortable.
No! Harry! Harry!
Ann!
Oh, Harry! She tried to kill me. She was going to smother me with her pillow.
I was just going to put it under her head to make her more comfortable.
Well, at least we can add another bit of useful information to our memory cells. A pillow makes a good substitute for smelling salts. Are you all right?
I think so. I hurt all over my leg.
Let me see.
Yes.
I think it's broken.
Broken?
Let me see. Oh, yes. Oh, Perry.
It's all right. We can get you to a doctor now. The fog's starting to clear.
You're not going to leave me here alone.
Don't worry, you'll be quite safe. We know exactly who's behind this now. And from now on, we're going to be working together.
You know?
Yep. It's our supposedly late, unlamented Papa. He's the only one it can be.
Oh, but I refuse to believe that, Monica. I won't listen to that.
You're wrong. It's not your father, Monica.
It must be him. That's tripwire wasn't at the top of the stairs when you went up them, or you'd have noticed. Therefore, somebody had to place it after you'd passed. Now, none of us left this room, and the rest of them are dead. Ergo, our mysterious murderer must be Papa.
Of course, you're absolutely right.
She isn't. He's lying upstairs on my bedroom floor. He fell out of the wardrobe when I went up there to get my coat. That's why I screamed. It was so unexpected.
Well, I'm wrong again. There's somebody else in the house.
What are we going to do?
We're going to have to wait till help comes to us.
But that could take months.
Even years. Nobody comes here anymore unless it's by accident. The local tradesmen drop their goods off at the gate, and she goes into town once a month to settle up with them. None of the family has left here for years.
Well, except poor Marcus, of course. But he didn't know any better, did he? And they always brought him back.
Who did?
Penworthy and Ann.
He was so very fond of Mr. Penworthy. He sounded so like father, you see. And poor Marcus, he was so short-sighted. I often wondered why he didn't wear spectacles, but of course they didn't have them in Roman days, did they? So I guess he wouldn't wear them.
Well, this is just marvelous, isn't it? Here we are, one injured person, 6 dead bodies, and an unknown maniac stalking the rest of us, having a cozy little chat about nearsighted Romans. All we're short of now is an old-fashioned thunderstorm and a blasted power failure. See my big mouse?
Stay right where you are.
Somebody's tampering with the generator.
Stay right where you are, don't move.
But you said there's somebody out there.
Don't worry, it's probably just run out of fuel. We've got a spare one on standby. I'll fix it.
No, it could be a trap.
I can take care of myself.
Don't go, Monica. I'm frightened.
Perry, stop her.
I can't see a thing. Ouch! Oh!
Are you all right?
Yes,
Where are you?
over here.
Don't move. Stand still. There's a draft on the back of my neck. I think the panel's open.
What is it?
They're right behind me. Quick, Perry. Quick, Perry, help me. Light a match.
I
Light a
can't
match.
find you.
Oh, quick, Perry, help me. Help me, Perry.
I found you. I found you. I'm right here. I'm right beside you. Ann? Ann!
No, no.
Ann, no, it's me.
Oh, and I thought it was her.
Don't look.
Oh, then it was Monica. It was Monica all along. I felt her brushing past me, but I tried to hold on to her, but she was too strong.
It's all right. It's all right.
She's mad, stark staring mad.
What are we going to do?
What can we do? We don't have a chance without that gun. She must have taken it while we were moving Agatha. We're done for.
Not yet, we're not. I'll carry you down to the village.
You'd never manage it, not that distance. And I could stand the pain, I'm sorry.
There must be something. Let me think.
We just got to get her before she can get us.
There. She was making me nervous. Now, where was I? I know. The entrances. Seal all the entrances. That'll stop her.
Perry, what's the use? We're not going to get out of here alive, and you know it. She's got us trapped. We're done for.
Not if I've got anything to do with it.
Our only chance is to get her before she can get us. That's our only chance.
Right. Ah, the very thing. This should give her a nasty headache.
Well, what are you going to do?
Well, just over the door. When she comes in, poof. Hey,
What is it?
it's hidden inside the book. Somebody cut a space out.
Is it loaded?
Just one bullet left.
Oh, then we've got her. We're saved, Perry. We're saved.
3 green apples hanging on the wall. If 1 green apple should accidentally fall, we'll have 2 green apples hanging on the wall. Did you hear that, Perry, baby? 2 green apples. Lots and lots of money to share between them. How's about it, Perry?
take a look?
No, she's just trying to separate us. It's a trap.
But you said there's somebody out there. Somebody's supposed to be dead.
But we've seen all the bodies.
I've got to be sure.
Terry, don't leave me. Come
Monica,
back.
are you there? She must have won that money awfully bad.
But to commit murders?
And all for nothing, too.
Nothing. There's $4 million at stake.
And there's something I've got to tell you, and I don't know quite how to do it. You see, the truth of the matter is it's all been a ghastly mistake. All these murders, they needn't have happened at all.
I don't understand.
But I'm trying to say it's all my fault. I'm the one responsible for killing everybody.
You?
I don't mean personally, but it's all my fault. You see, I've always been so painfully shy, and when you told me Frida was killed, because that's the only way the Toon family could get their hands on the money, I felt terrible. Because if I hadn't been too embarrassed to tell the truth about myself, she needn't have died at all.
Truth?
Yes, Ermentrude Ash wasn't Frida at all. She was me.
You?
Yes, I've always wanted to be a writer, you see. And the only thing I could write well was romantic novels for women. And I couldn't very well do that under my own name, or else I've been laughed out of my job. I'm an undertaker's assistant for Grimley and Welldug's. We decided to stay on so no one would get suspicious. Frida was my agent, the only one that knew my secret. And so, when I was supposed to give interviews and book signings and things, she came along and pretended to be me.
I see.
I know I should have said something before, but I didn't know quite what was happening. And with Frida dying like that, well, you don't mind, do you, honestly?
Mind? Oh, Perry, I'm delighted for you. That means the money's really yours. $4 million. Oh, Perry.
But I'm not going to keep it. Not after what's happened. I'm going to give it all to charity. If we ever find it, I couldn't bear to touch it.
Well, then I think I better handle it. After all, charity begins at home.
I'm not interested. Because it's caused the deaths of too many people. That'd do some good for a change.
But it can do us good, Perry.
I don't want it.
And do you think I'm going to stand by and watch you throw a fortune away as though it were nothing?
Well, it is nothing to me. And besides, with that broken leg of yours, you're not going to be doing any standing for a long time.
You were saying? That's the worst of some people. They'll believe anything you want them to if you just make it sound convincing enough.
You're walking.
How very observant of you, darling. What a pity your brain isn't as sharp as your eyes. You poor fool. I didn't plan all this just to see that cash slip through my fingers because of your high moral standards. That money is mine, and I intend to have it. Understand, darling?
It was you all along.
Well, with a little help from the late Mr. Penworthy. Oh, yes, he was in on it, too. Do stop clutching that wall like a sprig of ivy. I'm not going to harm you. Sit down and relax while I tell you the rest of the story. I'm sure you'll find it fascinating. Cheers. Now, where was I? Do sit down, Perry. You're making me feel nervous. Sit. That's better. Well, the first thing we had to do was to get me into the family without raising anyone's suspicion. They have very nasty minds, the Toons. Poor Marcus. We only had to convince him that Caesar should have a wife, and the rest was easy.
Calpurnia.
Pardon?
Caesar's wife, that's what he called you, Calpurnia.
Oh, yes, he nearly gave the game away there, didn't he? The poor fool. He didn't need much convincing to slip down to the registry office in town. And while we were waiting to get a certificate, Penworthy acted as a witness for us. We had the marriage certificate tucked away in a safe place, just waiting to be produced on cue. As sole surviving member of the Toon family, I'd inherit the whole fortune. Pretty neat, eh?
Diabolical. Except for one thing.
Yes, we never expected you to come back incognito. That was very naughty of you, Peregrine. You caused us to get rid of the wrong Miss Ash. Still, if we knew about your secret a little bit sooner, we might have poisoned you instead. I can't tell you what a shock you gave us when you suddenly came back. Penworthy wanted to call the whole thing off, but I forced him to go on. Oliver was easy. Well, fairly so. He kept trying to avoid being hit. That's why Penworthy had to use so many bullets on him. In the meantime, I exercised my talents by cutting the telephone wires.
I don't want to hear it anymore.
Of course, when Penworthy gave me something to think about when Penworthy got knifed, Monica was right. He hadn't gone down to the village at all. He went out there to finish you off. Not for any particular reason, you understand, but you were a loose end that needed tidying. You do see that, don't you?
I suppose so.
And if it hadn't been for that mad cow poking her nose into it, he might have done it too. Still, it worked out for the best, because I would have had to dispose of him myself later on. I did not intend sharing my life and fortune with Mr. Hamilton Penworthy. Thank you very much. But I was badly worried at the time. There was someone else in on it, and I had no idea who it was.
My heart bleeds for you.
Sure it's going to. I had to work fast. I knew that Penworthy had that certificate down here, so I sent Marcus down to look for it. Of course, I followed him by way of the passageway. I suppose I should have used a knife on him, but the gun made a louder noise, and I wanted someone in here to help prove my innocence when the body was found. Clever, eh?
That's diabolical, too.
I had it all worked out to the last detail, even to the charade of trying to save his life, when I knew he was as dead as a dodo. No one argues with a nurse over a dying patient, do they? Lucia was easy. I had already lured him away by telling him someone had wrecked his precious laboratory. I got him less than a minute after shooting Marcus. He never knew what hit him. And then came Agatha, the good and faithful servant. Too faithful for my liking. I hadn't realized she overheard Penworthy and myself talking and plotting until she mentioned she had heard old man Tomb's voice in here. Agatha was right. Penworthy did sound an awful lot like the old man at times. Of course, I had to get rid of Agatha, not only because she might have recognized my voice and put the knife into Penworthy, but because you told me she had gotten hold of that marriage certificate, and I knew it wouldn't take her very long to put two and two together. She should never have hung that meat axe by the kitchen door. It was like a gift from the gods.
I can't believe it. How can you be so cold-blooded?
Practice makes perfect. Besides, when you've assisted at as many operations as I have, a little blood and bone doesn't bother you very much. Of course, when Monica admitted it was she who had knifed Penworthy, I almost gave the game away in relief. But I knew now what had happened, and I knew it would all be clear sailing. I threw my big scene and cleared off to collect Lucia's head and waited in the passageway for the room to clear.
Well, you couldn't have done. I was outside your door.
You can also exit by a secret passageway, my pet. Why do you think I locked the door in your face? I couldn't risk you coming in and finding the room empty. And it didn't take much ingenuity to lure Dora into the passageway. Then it only took me a minute to slip out and help you look for her. Emily was the easiest. I had injected that apple with cyanide the previous evening. I knew it would only be a matter of time before she sank her little white fangs into it. And the beauty part of it was, I didn't even have to be anywhere near her at the time.
But you tried to save her.
Of course I tried to save her. And there's no cure for cyanide, but I did try to save her. I had to make it look good, didn't I? You know, I've often thought I should have been an actress. Can you see me as another Sarah Bernhardt?
You're more like Lady Macbeth.
Oh, naughty, naughty. Then at that point I made a mistake. Yeah, I admit it. I admit it. I had gotten rid of the only reason for keeping me here. Marcus was dead, and the fog was beginning to lift. I noticed it as I ran out of the room. Hence the fall downstairs. Well, naturally I didn't actually fall. I just fixed up the tripwire I had prepared for Dora, wrapped it tightly around my ankle to leave a mark, arranged the old man's body on my bedroom floor. Yeah, we had moved him a couple days before. Then I knocked over the vase and arranged myself amid the fragments, all very artistic and convincing. With a broken leg, diagnosed by myself, we had no choice but to stay on.
But you're unconscious. Monica examined you.
Did you think I wouldn't have thought of that? I didn't underestimate the way her mind worked. I just gave myself a small jab with the needle, just enough to knock me out for a short time. It was simple. As simple as opening the valve on the generator's fuel tank to make the lights fail while we were all in here earlier. Poor Dora. Such a scraggy neck. So fragile. By the time it got down to you or Monica, in your own minds, that is, she had to turn killer again to save her own skin. But what a good job it was that you discovered where she'd hidden the gun. She acted so smart to be there. But you got her, didn't you, Perry? You got her.
Eh?
Your fingerprints. They're all over the gun, darling. Just waiting for some eager little policeman to come and find them. A naughty, naughty. Must have destroyed the evidence, must we?
Evidence?
That you did the murders, darling. We have to blame somebody.
They'll never believe you.
Oh, I'm sure they will. 3 bodies with bullets in them, and your fingerprints all over the gun. They'll be only too willing to believe. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't think you murdered all the others, too, especially when I get done telling my story.
And what's that?
That you came here under the invitation of Monica, under an assumed name, and managed to kill off almost everybody in the household before falling out with her. You beat her to the draw, but fortunately, poor little me managed to escape and knock you out with this before calling the police. I'll work out the rest of the details on the way to the village.
And do you honestly think you'll get away with it?
I don't know why not. I can be very convincing.
Then I'll tell you, Ed, you made a mistake, a very big one.
I did. You must tell me.
I will. That mark around your ankle.
What about it?
If someone falls over a tripwire like you're supposed to have done, the wire only leaves a mark where it actually touches the skin. It doesn't go all the way around the ankle. Monica spotted it once and pointed out to me when we moved Emily's body next door.
How very astute of her.
Yes, and not very clever of you. When the police see that mark, you'll be done for. They'll know you're lying.
Well, well, well. What a nasty, conniving person you really are, Mr. Potter. So you knew all along.
I wasn't convinced. I just didn't know how you managed it. I had to hear it for myself. I'm just sorry it wasn't in time to save poor Dora.
Not forgetting the clever Miss
That you sweet
What?
said.
What?
You can get up now, Monica. Monica, get up.
Well, well, well. Something seems to have gone wrong, doesn't it, darling? You really have killed her.
Monica, wake up.
Well, I guess I'll just have to change my story a little. I can't have you pointing out my ankles to some nasty old detective, can I? They may be inclined to listen to you. Don't back away from me, darling, because this is going to hurt you more than it will me. I'll just have to finish you off.
No.
Fighting for my life against a vicious
No. Help. Help.
No one's going to explain me. No use. Ah! Oh!
Oh.
Okay. I'm sorry about that, but you almost gave me a new parting with that bullet. I almost didn't make it.
Did I?
Poor Perry, but you handled that lasting like Lawrence Olivier. I could have never managed without you. If she hadn't have tried to be so clever with that tripwire, she could have finished us all off. Thank goodness you caught on as fast as you did when I pointed it out to you, and she walked right into the trap.
But not soon enough to save poor Dora.
But soon enough to save us and the missing million.
Please, I don't want to hear about that awful money again. Let us stay hidden forever.
But I know where it is.
You do?
Yes. I found this in the passageway a few moments ago. We must have been walking over it for weeks.
What is it?
It's a confirmation note from your publishers acknowledging order and payment in advance for 2 million copies of your new book, Passion in Cheltenham, at $2 per copy, ready to be delivered on request.
2 million copies? At $2 each? That's $4 million. That explains why all these bookcases are empty. He was waiting for my books.
So there, you're going to receive part of your fortune after all, if only in royalties.
Well, I guess we can call the police now.
Oh, no, they can wait a few more hours. It's going to make a difference.
A few hours?
There's nobody here now. Nobody to disturb us.
Now, wait a minute, Monica.
Oh, Perry, we've got plenty of time to get a little more friendly towards each other.
No, Monica. Listen.
Perry,
No.
Green.
Help. Help.
Perry.
No.
Baby.
Help. No.
Perry.
President, Wolf Man.
I hope you all enjoyed our show tonight, and I do believe that I'd like to have you know who did what. First, we have Hamilton Benworthy by Jim Johnson. Lucian Tune, Bill Fortune. Laura Tune, Peggy Hendricks. Emily Tune, Mildred Fortune. Oliver Tune, Robert Waters. Marcus Tune, Jack Imbody. I don't know why I'm not an actor. I have to read it and then I have trouble then. Anne Franklin, Babs Cominoli. Jessica Hammond, Margaret Lowe. Lisa Montjoy, Jane Cosby. Oh, sexy Perry Potter, Mel Gibbons. And the sexy Monica Toon, Diane Diassi. I would also like you to meet our producer, Terry Waters. Our director, Janae Heck. Janae? Move it.
Away from that wine.
Our assistant director, Jim Gustafson. Our stage manager and assistant manager, Beverly DeMeo and Lo Friedel. Our ticket sales girls, Kay Cooley and Ginny Williamson.